Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, a journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring the book Advice to Students, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are currently in today's satsang studying an important topic, the importance of good manners. In the life of every individual, possessing good manners, known in Sanskrit as sadachar or shishtachar, is the foundation for good education and also true progress. On the simplest level of understanding, good manners refer to the rules of courtesy that you learn from your childhood. For example, being disrespectful to your parents or elders is not good manners. To suddenly get up and start shouting whatever comes to your mind when you are seated in a group is not good manners. To reach for the dessert at the beginning of a meal instead of waiting for the right time is also not good manners. To interrupt when someone is talking to you is not good manners. The need for courtesy applies to all situations at home, with your relatives, and with your peers. If your manners are good, you make yourself as well as the people around you more comfortable. In this day and age, however, you are exposed to the values of television shows, movies, online media, social media, etc. As a result, much of the language and manners you are exposed to do not reflect a spiritual sensitivity to the value of goodness and respect. Further, even when you have been well taught as a child, as you get older, you may develop the erroneous idea that you should abandon the good manners you learnt in childhood, thinking them to be out of fashion. One should always respect parents and elders. Unfortunately, in these modern times, giving such respect is considered old fashioned. This view is completely incorrect and also erroneous. If you don't have good manners, then what you create is disharmony. Even a seemingly minor and unimportant act of bad manners can provoke disharmony. For example, there can be 100 people seated in a hall and all is calm and quiet. Then one person gets up to leave, and instead of closing the door softly, he or she lets it bang. Or during a program, one person may decide to move across the room just to hand someone a slip of paper. Many little inconsiderate moves can create a disturbance. It may all seem very innocent, but you must realize that when you start doing something abnormal to draw the attention of others, you are pampering your ego, and that is ill mannered. Although being courteous is an expression of good manners, being overly courteous could become impractical. The following humorous episode reflects how it is possible to go too far in displaying good manners. There were two grown up relatives who decided to take a trip by train. At the station, when it was time to board, one gestured to the other, saying, "You first." The other said, "No, no, no. You are far superior to me, so I'll come after you." Well, this continued until they heard the train whistle and then began to move on. Now, that is not what is meant by good manners. That is overstepping the bounds of practicality, which good manners should not do. Adapt and adjust as needed, but be practical. Furthermore, good manners should enable you to practice concentration, control your senses, and have a certain degree of control over your moods and temper. Good manners also implies humility, mastery over speech, and the ability to handle all situations in an efficient way. In the Upanishadic times, when students were receiving their education, they were given a message: Matri Devo Bhava, let your mother be your God. Pitri Devo Bhava, let your father be your God. Acharya Devo Bhava, let your teacher be your God. The teaching went on to say that you should not conduct yourself in a harmful way or in a way that is not in agreement with the scriptures. Whenever you are in doubt, reflect upon how great men conducted themselves in similar situations and follow their inspiring examples. If you do not have good manners, then all your education becomes hollow. If you do not have good manners, then you uh, are in disharmony. But if you do have good manners, you radiate peace and harmony everywhere. You can even deal with people who are rude and smooth out their rudeness. In other words, no matter what type of company you are in, good manners act to promote harmony and peace. Going still deeper into this practice, sadachar means righteous conduct, a conduct that can lead you to sat, which means truth. Satyameva jayate, Nanritam, truth alone triumphs, not falsehood. It is sincerity that is the foundation of righteousness. Always realize that you should be true to yourself, and on that basis, you should be able to practice truth without developing fear or doubt. Your sincerity will ultimately win because truth always triumphs. Satyameva jayate, no matter how difficult a situation may be. Suffering and sacrificing for the sake of truth becomes a foundation for building tremendous willpower. On the other hand, it will not secure happiness to adopt insincere ways to overcome rough situations in life. Rather, your future will become dark. Let's ponder over the yamas and niyamas. In developing your standard for righteous conduct, always remember the great yamas and niyamas of Raja Yoga. The yamas or ethical restraints include ahimsa, which is non-violence, satyam, thinking, speaking, and acting on the basis of truthfulness, brahmacharya, that is control and sublimation of your sexual energy, asteya is non stealing, both gross and subtle forms, and aparigraha, meaning non covetousness or non hoarding of possessions you do not need. The niyamas or ethical observances include shauch. Shauch means maintaining physical and mental purity. Santosh, which is contentment. Tapas is austerity. Swadhyaya, study of scriptures and repetition of your japa mantra. And Ishwar Pranidhan, which is surrender to God. The yamas are restraints, they refer to things you should not do. That means do not kill, do not hurt others, do not lie, do not steal, do not covet, etc. The niyamas are observances. They refer to things that you should do. You should elevate your mind by satsanga and study of scriptures. You should keep your body and mind pure and healthy. You should be able to practice contentment and surrender to God. All these yamas and niyamas are important ingredients of sadachar, the practice of righteous conduct. There is a profound illustration from ancient times about the great hero Yudhishthir, a person with a very high standard for righteous conduct. Once his teacher gave Yudhishthira and his classmates the task of learning the yamas. When the teacher followed up on the assignment and asked the students if they had learned their lesson, they all said yes, except Yudhishthira. He kept quiet. The teacher then became extremely angry. How is it that you could not learn such a simple lesson by heart? He shouted. Again, Yudhishthira kept quiet. Displeased, the teacher started beating Yudhishthira black and blue with a stick, which was quite normal in those days. And although Yudhishthira was beaten, still he remained quiet. Suddenly, the teacher realized why Yudhishthira was silent. He was completely engrossed in examining his mind to see whether or not he had really learnt the lesson of non violence. It is one thing, Yudhishthira reflected, to say that non-violence is the highest virtue, but it is entirely another thing to practice it. Similarly, if you read the story of Mahatma Gandhi and other great personalities of the world, you will find that Sadachar was the foundation of their growth and progress. The greatest of all personalities were men of God realization, men of spiritual knowledge. Their lives were founded on Sadachar, and they became example for others of how the lamp of righteousness can remove the barren darkness of life. Therefore, follow the path of Sadachar, enrich your personality with divine virtues, and attain God realization even in this very life. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat. In tomorrow's satsang, we will enjoy vitamins and minerals for mental health, which is so much needed in today's world. Hari Om Tat Sat.